Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Whoa, my lighting is awesome. Not okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to happy Sunday. Today is another beautiful Sunday. I want to welcome you to Soul Talks with Esme. My name is esmegregg. In case you haven't met me, I'm an intuitive spiritual coach, a certified Reiki master, and a best-selling Amazon author. So this is episode 17 of Soul Talks with Esme. This is a live video podcast where high conscious topics are discussed and with the intention to share uplifting stories and helpful personal growth tools we can all learn together as we connect at a soul level and consciously move forward in our journeys to a happy soul evolution. At least that's what I feel. That's what I think. And so I am just so excited that you're here. Thank you for being live. I appreciate you. And for those of you that are watching on the replay, also thank you for watching on the replay. Please do write in the comments, say hi, be ready with questions. Let us know where you're watching from. Today is Sunday, November 15th, and Monday, November 16th in Australia, where my guest is from. So thank you everybody that's joining from Sydney. You can catch live. You can still share this link. Invite your friends. We are live streaming on my YouTube channel, Happy Soul Evolution. Also, my Facebook page, esmegregg, and my business Facebook page, esmegreggcoach. Please also do take a minute to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Happy Soul Evolution. It would mean the world to me. Also hit the notification bell so that you know when I go live. And when new videos come out, I will start working on making those soon. Also, starting with the next season next year of Soul Talks with Esme, I will only be going live on YouTube. So please do subscribe so you can catch us next year. I do appreciate you so much. Awesome for being here. Today, we're talking about how to write your story using your intuition. And my very special guest is Brigid Holder. She is in Sydney, like I said. And let me read her bio and then bring her on camera because I know she's just happily, excitedly waiting for me. So let me tell you about Brigid. Brigid's corporate career saw her take companies from 450 clients to over 4,000. And from 100K to over 1 million in sales. Not lighting her burning desire to serve others, she searched until founding the Art of Grace Publishing House. This is her baby. And so this is where she now finds joy by bringing the dream to be a published author of others come to fruition. Oh, that's so exciting. I love that. Let me bring Brigid. Brigid, where are you? There you are. Welcome, Brigid. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Esme. Thank you so much for having me.
Good morning to you in Sydney, Australia. Whoop, whoop. I've had guests from UK, three different parts of UK. And you're my first Australia guest. So yes, thank you. Let me say hi to our guests. Let's see, to our viewers who are here. Let me see. And then we can get started talking. Hi, Stacy. Thank you for being here. Hey, Jillian. Jillian is here. Anisha, Martha, appreciate you. Hi, beautiful souls. Hi. Stacy says she's watching from Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So have you been to the States, Brigid?
Yeah, we've been a couple of times actually. I love the States.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I haven't been to Australia. So that's one of my dream places to go.
We'll have to come visit. We don't actually live in Sydney. We live in a place called Cootamundra, which is 3.5 hours out of the city. And we're on a small farm. I wouldn't call it a farm, but Americans would call what I have a farm, 27 acres.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a lovely oasis that we live in here. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Oh man, the countryside. I know. So my dad he used to work in oil, and he used to travel to Australia, and I have this bottle with the desert sand, like different colors,
Oh, wow.
and it has like I don't know, like an artistic paint. It looks like a painting, but it's in the. And I forgot what other cool things from Australia. Very cool. So I was always very interested in going. So, yay, we're here. We're here. So, okay. Corey joined us. Hey, Corey, thank you. He's joining us from Richmond, Virginia.
Nice.
So it's probably very cold up there. It's supposed to be winter here, but in Texas, it's usually, we had a cold front, but it's very warm.
Yeah, I love Texas. Texas and Colorado would be two of my favorite states that I have visited in USA.
Awesome. And you're just starting the summer months.
Yeah, we are. And yesterday was a scorcher. Got up to 33 was our first hot day, and it was really hot.
Wow. So yeah, 30s is pretty much above 80. It's 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which is where we were here in Houston yesterday. So
yeah.
So awesome. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about yourself. So you started this publishing house, and what were you doing before that? Like you were working with clients in the corporate world?
So originally I was working, I was a general manager in a large organization. I got into management really early, like in my early 20s, and that didn't stop. I just progressed as I went through my corporate career and went to different companies. And I still work with my husband in our corporate business, where it still doesn't light me up, but it's a family business and it's part of who I am and what I do. But on the way, I've been able to discover that I had a willingness to serve, and I was working with mothers for quite some time. I was a mother's mentor, and I still will do that, but at the moment my focus is on the publishing house. And the way that came about was also how we met. So we were in a multi-author book together.
Yes, I have it right here. So this was our first one, Trailblazers. So we were one of the 27 women.
Yeah, and that was beautiful to experience for me. I'm sure that many women have the same experience of being in a multi-author book, where it not only creates community and like grows friendships such as ours, but it also gives other women permission to be, to change their life, to be able to see that there's hope and to see that change is possible, and to see that others have gone through a path similar, if not the same as theirs, and that they are able to, choose a different way and be able to reach their goals because somebody else has done it before them.
Exactly. And that's why the book is called Trailblazers. Not that we were doing it on purpose. No. It's just life. But in hindsight, we were able to look back at a part of our life and take the lessons from that. And then share the story basically in this book. But then you, my friend, you weren't satisfied with just being in one Amazon bestseller. What did you do, Brigid?
Well, I did a series on my motherhood, and I hated motherhood and I never told anyone, and I really suffered through 10 years of motherhood. Like my eldest is 14, and for 10 years of his life, I felt like a failure. Motherhood wasn't how I expected it to be. And I did a 5-day series of lives just sharing my story. And I was astounded by the number of women who came forward and said, thank you so much. You've shone a light on issues I'm having. I'm going to ask for help. It helped so many people that's how I became a mother's mentor. But I decided that I'm writing my own book. And writing your own book takes a lot of discipline. I don't know whether you know much about human design, but I'm a manifesting generator. So one of our core skills is that we are not finishers. So we might start something and not finish it.
Mm.
And that has been something that I have carried with me my whole life and felt guilty about my whole life. But now I understand my human design. I understand that that's part of who I am, and I can choose to finish things that I want to finish. So the book will be finished next year. But because it was, this was around the same time as Trailblazers came out. I did, maybe a month before Trailblazers came out, I did the 5-day live series and how I became a motherhood mentor. I then decided that I would write the book, and I started writing the book, and I've started sharing the book, and then the opportunity to be in another multi-author book came up, and I was like, you know what? I can do that. I can do that in a flash. It doesn't take long. It's one chapter. And I really like the multi-author books because of what they give to others. And I didn't have to take care of anything but writing my chapter. And I loved that about it. So that's why I did it again. And I'm really pleased that I did, because Visionary is also a beautiful book in that it teaches lessons and gives permission again to women around the globe to be able to change their life.
Yes, I love that. And I think I'm a manifesting generator. I only did like the website, way of looking up human design.
Yeah.
And I see Jillian is writing manifesting generator here too. She can totally relate. Thank you, Jillian. Hey, Vin. Vin is joining us from Canada, my dear friend. Thank you. Hey, Michelle. Michelle Aspinwall is here.
Oh, hey, Michelle.
Michelle was here. She was a guest a few weeks ago. We talked about hormones and all that fun stuff, all her expertise. Yeah, she says that she's a manifesting generator too. That's awesome. Oh, Martha. Martha was also in the book in Trailblazers, my dear friend. She's a manifesting generator. So I think we have a little tribe here going on. So for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about human design. I was supposed to do a show on that, but maybe next season I'll do a show. I'll have some experts. So if anybody knows anybody for a few months from now, we'll talk more about human design and what all that means. So, wow, it's amazing. So yeah, your story. Okay, so then your book is not out yet, right? It's
yeah, it is. Yeah, Visionary. Okay. Oh, my whole book. No, yeah. my whole book.
You said next year.
Yeah, I don't want to say the name of it on your show because
that's fine.
Swear word and then motherhood.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I had a hard time writing one chapter, and I really can't believe I shared what I shared because it was very personal. So I'm really like I have a hard time like going back to read it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that. But it's almost like it's very freeing, right? And I did have a few people come up to me or write me messages. Wow, I really connect with this, and I really, so it's amazing. So anyways, we're not here to talk about that book, but we are here to talk about writing our story. So that's why we're sharing this. And so have you always been a writer, Brigid, or was just something that came up?
I say that I wasn't, but then I remembered recently when I was talking to somebody about a book that I co-wrote when I was in primary school. And I'm not sure whether we were in year 5 or year 6. So I'm talking 10 or 11 years old. And it was called Chalk Talk. I clearly remember the book, and we had an illustrator, and there was 2 of us who wrote the book, and it was, about how the chalk came to life in the classroom when we used to have blackboards.
So cute.
So perhaps I was always a writer, and I, pushed that down thinking that society's dictated version of what you're supposed to do. You've got to go to college and you have to get a good qualification, and then you have to go out into the corporate world and get a good job. And perhaps I dumbed down my writing and went back to that. And I'm not somebody who has to perfect what I write, which really surprised me when I wrote my chapters.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even do an edit on my chapters. I wrote
You know what? I really did. I only edited a few things. I just wrote it.
Yeah.
I sat down and just told the story as if I was writing it to a friend.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's the part that is intuitive, is that you sit with it, you let it flow, and then it's produced. And I think that that's, it went to an editor, and grammatical errors were, I don't know whether they were fixed or not, because I don't check. I've never reread my chapters that are in those books.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I might, but for now I was just happy to release them. And like you said, it's freeing. It allows you to shift whatever it is that needs to be shifted. And in the first book, I didn't even think that I had anything more to work through. Yeah. I thought I was done with that stuff. So yeah, it was nice to be able to feel that extra shift when I wrote the first book. And again, in the second one, I thought that I had worked through all that stuff, and, it's part of what's going to be in my whole book. And yeah, I just feel that freeing. But that process of writing intuitively, I find it comes with more ease and grace.
So do you want to talk about some of those tips now, since we're in the topic of that?
Yeah, sure.
Does that feel natural right now? So let's share. So we're going to talk about some tips or some ways to get that, to use your intuition to write your story.
I do actually set up a space for myself. So I make sure that it's clear of any clutter, and I lit a candle. Every time I write, I light a candle. And I do like candles that smell. And you know how sometimes you buy a candle and you think it's going to be great, and when you light it, you can't smell anything.
Right. It smells nice on the glass, but not when you light that.
It's really disappointing to me. So I make sure that I've got the right candle, because I don't want to be disappointed when I go to write. And then I do heart congruence. So have you come across heart congruence before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that practice of connecting to your heart through deep breathing, and, accepting the space that you're in, and letting go of anything that needs to be let go of. And I set an intention, and my intention is that the words that I write are going to reach the women who need to hear it, and that I'm going to help others to be able to change the patterns in their life. And that's what I do, that every time I write. Every time I write in my book, both the chapters that I wrote, that's what I do. And, sometimes it'll last for 3 hours, and sometimes it lasts for 15 minutes. Whatever happens, I just accept that, and then I move on to the next thing.
I love that, because as an energy worker and a true believer in energy, and even before I learned about Reiki and energy work, I knew that things had energy, right? I had this connection with that. It was just a knowing that I had. And so I love that reminder that, and I have a beautiful coach. His name is Jay Shetty. And that's one of the first things that he taught us in his group coaching, Community Genius, that spaces have, what is it? Now I'm going to butcher it. I'm well known for butchering phrases, but basically it's about a space has energy, Yeah. And so for example, if you have a place to eat, even if you live in a 1-bedroom study or 1-bedroom apartment or a small space, you should have a little space to eat, like if you have a table. And that's where you should eat every day. And then, if you have a place to sleep, that's your place to sleep, not to work, not to eat, not to study, because our brain also works a certain way too.
Yeah.
But I love that, setting up the energy, decluttering, and then lighting the candle. It's like a ritual, right?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's something that I learned through Circle School, is that, everything you do can be a ritual. I mean, I made sure that I had my pot of tea and my beautiful cup for our talk today, because it's part of who I am, my cup of tea. And that ritual of getting my cup of tea ready and, making sure that I had enough to have 2 cups of tea in our time together. And because I love having my cup of tea with someone. So it was...
Me too. I always have my tea.
Yeah, and in Circle School, we learned that everything is a ritual. So, you can make everything a ritual. And I think that gels well with what Jay Shetty says about the space has an energy, because it allows you to embrace that energy even more if you make it into a ritual. And I think that's how writing became so easy for me, although the discipline of fitting it in all the time for a whole book is different to writing a chapter.
Right.
You've got a deadline and you've got to put a chapter in. I mean, I'm terrible because I wait until the very last minute. I mean, I think my visionary chapter went in 3 minutes after midnight the day it was due.
Same here. I think I was like 5 minutes.
So, and Trailblazers was definitely late. So, it's just that setting up that and dropping into yourself through heart congruence, which is from the Heart Math Institute. I think that makes things so much easier for us.
Yeah.
And it allows you to connect more to yourself. And I think that's one of the ladies in the book actually described intuition in a beautiful way, in that she said it's your inner tuition. And I really like, that's my multi-author book. When she said that to me, it was like, that's exactly what it is. You're listening to the tuition from yourself. And I really liked that description, in that's how it describes how I write, and that I connect to my intuition and be able to listen to myself.
Oh, yes, that's so true. Oh, one of my friends from Jay's Genius is helping me out. She wrote, location has energy, time has memory. Yes. Beautiful. Thank you, Vin. I appreciate you. Yes. And intuition. I love that, because it's an inner knowing. And I just did, I help people develop their intuition too. So I help people with that. And so we have different ways. We call them clairs, right? Which is basically the 5 senses enhanced. So where was I going with this? So the clairs, we all have this intuition, but we just don't know that language. We don't know we don't know that we're intuitive, right? Because we're not taught to use it. Maybe we're even, ridiculed for using it and things like that.
Yeah.
So in the writing process, let's say somebody just is thinking like, yeah, but I don't have anything interesting to write about. My life is boring. What would you say to somebody like that?
I totally get that, because I thought the same thing until I shared my motherhood story, and then I was amazed at the number of people who came forward. I think everybody has a story to tell, and stories matter so much. It's really important that we share our stories. It's a way that humans connect, is through story. And, going right back to the Bible, that's how people connected to, and not just the Bible, every religion has some sort of book that connects.
An old book with all the stories.
Yeah, and the stories connect them to the humans who were around at the time and did whatever they did that was amazing, and, allowed them the ability to connect with those stories. And I think that everybody has a story in them. It doesn't matter whether you think it's boring or not, it's going to connect with someone. That's one of the things that really came up for me when I was going into Trailblazers was judgment, because I would hear, you know, when I heard part of your story, I was like, oh my God, that woman has, you know, has a suffering level that I've never had. And that's, you know, oh, her story is so much better than mine. And, you know, went into judgment and comparison, and it's not true, because there's a woman out there who needs to hear my story. There's a woman out there who needs to hear your story. You know, I connected with parts of your story because of what my mother went through and what I witnessed as a child. So I think that it's, you know, it's so important that you share your story. Doesn't matter whether you had a tremendous, you know, life, and that story is still fantastic too, because it should be celebrated. It's not just always about doom and gloom. It's, you know, sometimes it's about tremendous lives. And if you've been one of the lucky few to have had a perfectly tremendous life with no trauma, then, you know, you should share that, because it is possible and other people can aspire to have that. So I think that everybody's story matters. It doesn't matter how unimportant you think it is. It's definitely important.
There's only, what, 7.5 billion people in the world, you know. So we all have a lot of these things in common, may not be the exact details. So yeah, I think everybody's story matters. And I love that that's a way that connects us.
Yeah, it is. And I think that that's really important too, Esme, is that connection, you know, especially in this time, we've found that social media is a real, I use the word godsend, but I don't mean that it's sent from God, if that makes sense. It's a real blessing.
Yeah. Where would we be without social media?
Yeah. Well, imagine when they had the plague and they were all confined and, you know, they had each other. That was it. And they had to cope. There was no government's help. There was no, you know, you were locked away and that was it until it passed. We don't have that. And we are very lucky to have this ability to connect with each other. You know, we can publish a book on Amazon and every woman in the world has access to that book now. Every man in the world has access to that book now. And I think that that's, you know, it's important that we realize that how lucky we are right now, and that the stories that we tell are going to help others, and that we are really, everybody should share their story.
Yeah. And then there's a little bit of that. Some people are afraid of being vulnerable, you know, and that's where a little bit of courage comes in. Right? Would you call it courage? I think I would call it courage.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's bravely stepping into a new you when you become vulnerable. I certainly feel that as I've changed what I've done, I always think that people are going to judge me. And some people do judge you, but so what?
Exactly. We're going to judge you anyways, whether you do this or that.
Yeah. So when I changed what I do, like when I went from originally I was a business coach, and then I went to Mother's Mentoring, and now I'm a publisher, and I might go back to Mother's Mentoring. You know, it's when you change what you do and you go through that process of thinking, oh, what will people think? It really makes you become braver. And if you share the reasons why you're doing these things, then, you know, that vulnerability. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. The why.
That.
The why. Woo! That I just did a snappy snap. Yeah, the why, because if it's not just and so something I heard somebody share one time, and I wish I would have known that or thought of that, or I don't know if I missed that in the training that we had in Trailblazers, but this I fell asleep or something. But when we share a story, you can share the story with two intentions, right? The intention of making it all about you and you're just sharing your story. Or you can share the story, but with the intention of wording it and kind of packaging it in a way where it becomes relatable for others. you are still sharing your story, but it's something that, it's packaged and it's said in a way that it can be relatable for the person, the listener, right? So it's not so much about you, even though it's your story. Somehow you're making it about them.
Yeah.
And that's where the little trick was. And so I love that because, and of course, I don't know, I just think that it's awesome to be able to open up and share. So there's different levels, right? Kind of like admitting you have a problem and then, facing the problem or whatever. So when you start sharing, that's fine. That's beautiful because it helps with the healing process. And then when we get to the point where we want to do like what we're talking about, writing a story, maybe putting it in a book.
Yeah.
Then there's a different intention, like what's the reason you want to share the story? Why would somebody read your story type of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I know Martha, if she's watching, she reached out to me while we were in the process of writing in Visionary because she had a lot of fears come up. And I think that that's the best time to write is when you've got fears coming up, because I think that that's the time you've got to face those fears and it helps you to grow. And she's having amazing success now with her art. And I think that, it's a fact that it's because of the fact that she faced her fears. She got in touch with her intuition. She wrote from the heart and, now she's having amazing success. And I think that that is repeated across a lot of people who put their story into a multi-author book.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then what I love is that somehow, usually that story, after a while, it's almost like you share it, you discuss it, it becomes easier to tell. You're not crying and, you don't have snot running down your nose. and then, it's like, you're just telling it like, this happened to me and blah, blah, blah. And the way it's like, it becomes, it's like you own it in a different way. Right. And so that alone is helpful for somebody that may be a few steps, behind you where you were whenever, in the past.
And snot running down their face day.
Right. And they're like, how can she tell that same story and not be falling apart? It's like, well, number one, practice. I came to appreciate the story. I took the lessons from it, right? So many positives from it. I remember even writing a sentence in my story saying, if I could do this all over again, I wouldn't change one thing. As painful as everything was, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Because I'm grateful for it, all of it, every single minute. And I think most of us, when we get to that point, it's a really soul level appreciation, and like you kind of level up a little bit there, I think, when you get to that inner knowing.
Yeah, that's really true. I really feel that way too. And, I'm at the point now where I don't give a shit what other people think. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And I wasn't there 12 months ago, like it's 12 months ago, I would have gone, start a publishing company. Are you kidding me? Who do I think I am? Like, it's just, it's that progression of sharing my story and, speaking my own truth has led me to the place where I don't care what other people think. And I think that, that going right back to what you said earlier, where you said it's like freeing yourself. It's a freeing moment when you start to share your story. I hadn't realized what you said about the more you share your story, the easier it becomes. I can tell my story about hating motherhood with a smile on my face now.
But back then you probably couldn't. You were afraid to admit that.
Yeah, I was afraid to admit it while I was going through it. And when I shared it for the first time in that 5-day live series, I was crying. And I could talk about it now without crying. I should do it again.
Make jokes about it. Right.
Yeah.
Let me say hi. So Patricia Suggs is here. She was your guest yesterday. I caught y'all your chat yesterday. So hi, Patricia. Thank you for being here. Thanks, everybody who's still here. please let us know if you have any questions. And so Patricia wrote, all of our stories have pearls of wisdom in them. So true. And so do tell us about your new project, your new baby, what I'm calling.
Yeah.
Is you started your own publishing house, and what's going on with that, and what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so the Art of Grace Publishing House, we're doing our first multi-author book, which is called Intuitive, Knowing Her Truth. And we're accepting applications for authors to be contributors to that multi-author book at the moment. And really looking for women who, like you, are really connected to their intuition. They're using it without even, having to think about it anymore. So they're really connected to it, and it's not something, you can still do it with intent, but it's not something that you can't do. So it's not something you're working on. It's actually, it's embedded within you, and, that inner tuition, as one of the authors in the book has said, is what is really coming through for you. So yeah, it's just, it's fascinating to watch the process unfold from the other side, and I'm learning at the speed of light. And yeah, it's a wonderful process to be going through. And Patricia is doing it with me, with her own publishing house as well. And it's lovely to be able to allow other women to share their stories through this platform.
Oh, it's such a beautiful process, and it's amazing to see you, like you said, grow from, going from writing, your own little chapter in a book, and then joining another one, and you're working on your own book, and then you're like, hey, I'm this badass woman. I got so much to do. I got so much to give. I'm gonna start my own publishing house. Deal with it.
Yeah.
My
husband calls it my hobby. He has no idea.
Yeah. He doesn't need to know. So you've come from a place, where you were struggling through motherhood and all the internal emotions, and now you're this badass, empowered entrepreneur, publisher.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to use that as my next bio.
Whoop, whoop. I'll have to listen.
Watch it back and record it. I like the badass part. Thank you.
Well, I know you like to use colorful language, so
I'm really trying not to. I really do have to try not to. And, my poor mum, she always says to me, Brigid, don't swear. I'm like, one of my best friends, which I haven't seen her for years because she lives in Ireland, the Irish, is just embedded in their culture to swear in conversation, and I think I'm, of Irish blood. I think that's what it comes down to.
I'm of Irish blood. My dad's side of the family is Irish. That's red hair, freckled face. But yeah, so a few years ago when I stopped drinking, I was like, okay, I'm going to stop swearing so much, because apparently there's some sort of correlation.
Well, I don't drink, Esme, so I'm not sure that there is.
But I became more mindful, and so I when I do swear, it's fine. I don't judge myself, but I'm just just a little bit more careful with it.
Cussing. I like the Americans call it
cussing. Oh, we have a beautiful comment from Frances. Frances, thank you. She's saying, great conversation. Thanks for sharing your stories here. I'm listening while doing chores, and it is definitely a conversation that strikes a chord regarding sharing our stories. Awesome. Others need to hear your story to help each other. Love that. Oh, so glad that connected, Frances. If you have free time, I have plenty of chores that you can help me with here. Come on over, Frances. So thank you. I appreciate you. Vin is also writing, I'm enjoying watching you, and Esme and Brigid, you make me smile. You're so organic. Well, thank you so much, Vin. And Frances is laughing. So yeah, one of the things was when I started doing the show, I was like, I know I'm not going to have any problem, talking, my personality, I'm outgoing. I have this silliness inside of me. And, guess what? It takes years to get to know and to accept ourselves as we are. Not only our bad qualities, we're very good at judging ourselves, right? Like, like looking in the mirror, like, oh my God, my nose, oh my this, oh my chin, whatever. We're judging. And so it became a work for myself, internal work, to starting to notice part of the act of self-love. And and it's actually almost harder to find good qualities. So thank you, Francis, Vin, for saying that. I appreciate that. And that also comes with the point of kind of almost not caring, and respectfully not caring, what others may think, because either way, I'm going to offend somebody, I'm going to say the wrong thing. My voice may not be the right, pitch, whatever. So what? If 5 people are watching and 5 people are enjoying it, that's that's awesome for me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really good point, is that it doesn't matter how many people read your story or watch your show. If you're touching the heart of one other person, and that person can then touch the heart of one other person, the ripple effect is what we're all aiming for.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you. And before I forget, so how can people find out or apply to be in your book if they're interested in doing this?
So if they just go to brigidholder.com, and Brigid is spelt the Irish way, so remember that when they do it.
BRIGID Holder HOLDER.com.
And they'll find the application there. Take them straight to it.
Awesome. Yeah. And then also they can find you and follow you on Facebook as Brigid Holder.
Yeah, that's right.
So awesome. And I appreciate you. So how is my future? Because you're on my Monday morning. So how is my Monday morning going?
Well, here in Australia, it's overcast and it's muggy. So I'm expecting that we're going to have more rain, which the farmers won't be happy about, because they've got hay on the ground and crops that have been cut, ready to go. And it's not good timing, this rain, but I hope it holds off long enough for them to get their crops off that have been already, ready to go.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I hope that goes well. It's crazy because in some parts of the world it's raining too much. So, sometimes we want rain, sometimes we don't, but we get what we get and we just have to kind of deal with it. Thank you so much, Brigid. Let me read a few other comments. So Francis was agreeing. Yes, exactly. Jace, thank you for joining in the UK. Incredible tips. Thank you. Yeah, and these are, I think they're great for writing anything, even if you want to journal, Yeah. So people that are wanting to write their story. And I think I wrote, I don't know if you caught that. So yesterday when I was writing the post, I realized that serendipity, last week, the topic was how to heal your story, heal your past and heal your story, with one of our co-author friends, Katie. And we wrote about that. And then, that was the show last week. And then next week, my last episode is going to be about how to use your voice.
Wonderful.
But it's going to she's also a coach, but we're going to talk about, making lives. So today we're talking about, writing and all of this. So this is amazing. And I wish you lots of luck with your publishing house. I know you're going to be amazing coach, and you're going to have a beautiful book. I guess it'll come out sometime next year. It takes a few months for all of this to happen, right?
Yeah. So we're aiming end of February, beginning of March at this stage. Just got to bring all the authors in before we set a deadline. the book launch.
Awesome. If anybody's interested, please do. I highly recommend it. You all have a story inside of you, and just contact Brigid at brigidholder.com and fill out the application, learn about the process, and hopefully you can be part of that program. It'll be awesome. And thank you for your tips, Brigid. I appreciate you so much. We have a few people saying thank you. Wonderful conversation. Thank you, ladies. That's from Jillian Lutz. Thank you for being here. All of you, I appreciate you. And remember, next week, everybody, it will be my last episode for this season. And then I'm going to take a few months break. And in a few months, I'll start season 2, and I'll only be going live in YouTube. So please do subscribe to Happy Soul Evolution on that's the YouTube channel. Also, another reminder, I'm about to go live in my Inner Healing Amigos. That's where I do free energy clearings. And today we're going to clear the throat chakra. And please do join that group. I appreciate everybody. And one more thing. So Brigid, you only have Facebook, right? You don't have other?
No, I just use Facebook.
Okay, I was going to say, because I think I'm like a handful people short on Instagram for 300 followers. So, not that it's a big deal for me, but I just thought it'd be cool to just let everybody know, if you're not following me on Instagram, it would be awesome to make it past the 300 mark. So it's Instagram at esmegregg. So thank you so much. Everybody's saying thank you. I appreciate you, Corey. Thank you, Vin. Fantastic conversation. So thank you, Brigid, so much. Everybody enjoyed it. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Monday, Brigid. And for everybody watching and listening, even on the replay, we wish you a beautiful day ahead, rest of the week. Many, many, many blessings and much love. Thank you, Brigid.
Thanks, Esme. Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.